Nathan had spent most of his life building a solid career in sales. For years, he worked as a manager in major companies, earning respect and professional recognition. His negotiation and persuasion skills had always ensured a comfortable life for him and his children. However, what once seemed like a stable career suddenly crumbled when a severe economic crisis hit the industry. At 45, Nathan found himself unemployed, facing a harsh reality. He was now considered too old for the current job market. After months of unsuccessful job hunting, he was forced to accept the only immediate option available, becoming a rideshare driver. Driving for hours every day was exhausting, and the financial return was barely enough to cover his expenses, including child support and his own basic needs. Nathan's financial situation deteriorated rapidly, with debts piling up and collectors growing increasingly aggressive. But beyond the financial burden, he carried an even greater emotional weight: shame. He felt embarrassed about his circumstances, especially in front of his teenage children, who had always seen him as a strong and successful figure. Every weekend with Anna and Josh was both a relief and a challenge, as Nathan struggled to hide the full extent of his struggles. One day, during one of his many rides, Nathan overheard something that caught his attention. A young passenger spoke enthusiastically about how he had completely transformed his financial life through online sales. Something in that conversation sparked a small glimmer of hope in Nathan, reminding him of his skills as a salesman. Could this be the opportunity he needed to turn things around? Weeks turned into months, and Nathan watched his financial situation spiral further out of control. The earnings from his rides barely covered his basic expenses, and the financial pressure grew heavier each day. Each overdue bill felt like another weight pressing down on him, making him feel trapped in an endless cycle. He would start his day early and finish late at night, yet there was never enough left to pay everything. The situation seemed beyond his control, and the silent despair in his life became a constant. His self-esteem, once built on his professional success, was now deeply shattered. He avoided social gatherings, especially with former colleagues and close friends, fearing the inevitable questions about his financial and professional situation. Every time someone asked how he was doing or what he was working on, he felt a painful sting in his chest, a cruel reminder of everything he had lost. The shame isolated him more and more, pushing him away even from family members he once held dear. Nathan was beginning to realize how destructive wounded pride could be. His relationship with his teenage children, Anna and Josh, also began to suffer as a result of his financial and emotional struggles. Although he tried his best to hide the severity of the situation, Nathan constantly felt frustrated that he could no longer provide them with the same lifestyle they once had. The weekends they spent together, which had once been filled with joy, were now clouded by a silent tension, an anxiety Nathan couldn't completely mask. Every simple request from his children, like going out to eat or buying new clothes, filled him with anguish, knowing he couldn't afford to say yes. One of the hardest moments came after a visit with his kids when Josh, his youngest, innocently asked, "Dad, don't you like going out with us anymore?" The question cut deep. Nathan knew that his refusals had nothing to do with a lack of desire, but rather a lack of money. That night, after dropping them off at their mother's house, Nathan parked his car on an empty street and silently cried. Feeling more powerless and defeated than ever before, he kept asking himself over and over, "How did I end up here?" Yet, despite everything, Nathan couldn't shake the conversation he had overheard about online sales. That passenger had spoken with such confidence about opportunities and success that Nathan began to wonder if there really was a new path waiting for him there. However, every time he considered the possibility, deep doubts surfaced. Was it too late for him to learn something new? Could he really rebuild his success after so many doors had closed? Or was he just fooling himself again? Despite his constant doubts, Nathan's curiosity grew stronger. In his free moments, he started discreetly researching the digital market, reading articles and watching videos about online sales. The more he learned, the more intrigued he became, realizing that he might actually be able to apply his past skills in this new environment. But then reality would hit him hard. Every hour he spent researching was an hour he wasn't earning money on the road, pushing him deeper into debt. He was caught in a cruel dilemma. The breaking point came on a particularly difficult day when his car, his only tool for work, suffered a serious mechanical failure. The cost to fix it seemed impossible given his already fragile financial state. Nathan felt completely crushed, unsure how he would recover from yet another setback. Without a car, there was no work. Without work, there was no way to reverse his financial downfall. The sense of failure had never been so overwhelming, pushing him to his emotional limit. With no immediate solution, he was left with only one option: asking family members for financial help, something he had desperately avoided until now. Doing so made him feel an entirely new level of humiliation and shame, as he found himself completely dependent on the generosity of others, something he had never imagined for himself. Each loan he requested felt like it stripped away another piece of his dignity, making him doubt his ability to overcome this crisis on his own. This period was emotionally exhausting and deeply painful for him. That same week, fate intervened in an unexpected way. The same passenger who had spoken about online sales happened to request another ride with Nathan. Noticing the exhaustion on his face, the young man asked what was wrong. For the first time, Nathan opened up honestly about his struggles, including his curiosity about the digital market. Excited, the passenger recommended a specific e-commerce course, suggesting that Nathan seriously consider investing in it. The advice sounded almost too good to be true, but it also seemed like a real opportunity. The question was it worth risking what little he had left on something so uncertain? After days of indecision, Nathan made a bold choice. He decided to talk to his children about his idea, despite fearing he might disappoint them further. To his surprise, both of them reacted with unexpected enthusiasm, encouraging him immediately. Anna, the oldest, looked at him with confidence and said, "Dad, if you believe in this, then do it. We trust you." Their words brought tears to Nathan's eyes, but also reignited a spark of strength within him. For the first time in months, he felt that maybe, just maybe, there was still a way forward. With his children's words echoing in his mind, Nathan decided to take a closer look at the recommended course. He watched some free lessons and realized that this path seemed not only viable, but genuinely promising. However, reality loomed over him once again. The little money he had left was reserved for next month's rent. He couldn't afford to lose it without an immediate return. It was a cruel dilemma, and he knew he had to make a decision soon. That night, as he stared at his nearly empty bank account and then back at the course's registration page, Nathan realized he was standing at the biggest crossroads of his life. The decision he made in that moment could change everything. His hand trembled as he hovered over the enrollment button, and one question echoed in his mind. Do I still have what it takes to change my story? Nathan stood still, staring at the computer screen for what felt like an eternity, his finger hovering over the enrollment button. He knew that clicking that button meant using his last savings, risking his ability to pay next month's rent. His heart pounded faster and faster as dozens of thoughts collided in his mind. What if he failed again? What if this was just another illusion, a desperate attempt that would end in failure? But on the other hand, what if it worked? This could finally be his way out of the humiliating situation he was trapped in. The ticking of the clock on the wall seemed louder than ever, marking each second of indecision. He closed his eyes and recalled the encouraging words of his children, Anna and Josh. They believed in him, even when he doubted himself. That memory brought a strange mix of relief and overwhelming responsibility. Nathan took a deep breath, realizing that he had to be strong not just for himself, but for those he loved the most. In a sudden impulse, Nathan clicked the button, feeling a surge of adrenaline as the payment was approved. There was no turning back. A deep fear of the uncertain future filled him, but at the same time he felt an unexpected sense of freedom, as if he had just broken the invisible chains tying him to failure. The decision was made. Now he had to make it count, giving everything he had to ensure that this risk would pay off. In the days that followed, Nathan threw himself into course with full force. Even after long hours of driving, he stayed up late studying every night. Each lesson was like a fresh dose of hope running through his veins, revealing real possibilities and practical strategies. His initial enthusiasm quickly turned into deep motivation, rekindling a passion he hadn't felt in years. Nathan realized that this journey wasn't just about financial stability. He was reclaiming a part of himself. However, financial reality showed no mercy. With his savings gone, His rent quickly fell behind, and the pressure from debt collectors intensified. His landlord became increasingly insistent, making it clear that if he didn't pay soon, he would be evicted. Nathan felt the heavy weight of fear creeping back in, wondering if he had made an irreversible mistake. Every overdue bill made him question whether he should continue focusing on the course or abandon the idea and find an immediate solution, even if it meant giving up his new path. One of the hardest nights came when he was on the verge of giving up. Then, out of nowhere, he received a message from Anna. "Dad, I know you're worried, but believe in yourself. We believe in you." That simple text brought tears to his eyes, reigniting his courage. Nathan realized that, no matter how painful this moment was, he couldn't quit now. He had to see it through, not just for himself, but for his family. Determined to act quickly, he launched his first online store using everything he had learned. He carefully selected products, set competitive prices, and crafted compelling ads. When he finally hit publish, his heart raced. He felt an overwhelming anxiety, afraid that no one would show interest. That night, he barely slept, staring at the computer screen, hoping for something to happen. Just one sale to prove he was on the right path. Hours passed and nothing. Nathan felt desperation creeping in again. Had he made another mistake? Was this the final proof that he had bet on the wrong dream once again? Every minute without a sale felt like an eternity, an emotional torture he wasn't sure he could endure any longer. But then, just when he was about to give up again, something happened. His phone buzzed with a different notification. His first sale had just been completed. Nathan froze, staring at the screen in disbelief. There was proof that his decision had real potential. It wasn't a huge amount of money, but that single sale represented something far greater. Validation. The confirmation that he had made the right choice. For the first time in months, he felt genuine happiness, realizing that his dream might actually become reality. In the following days, more sales started to trickle in, slowly increasing Nathan's confidence and motivation. Each small win was crucial to keep him moving forward. However, the deadline for his overdue rent was closing in fast. He was running against time, needing to increase his earnings urgently to avoid losing everything again. His daily routine became exhausting, splitting his time between driving and managing his online store. With only a week left to pay his rent, Nathan faced another huge decision. Should he fully dedicate himself to growing his store and stop driving for a few days? Or should he keep driving to secure the minimum income he needed? Even if it slowed his progress, the risk felt greater than ever, but so did the potential reward. Once again, he was at a crossroads that could define his entire future. That night, parked on an empty street after hours of driving, Nathan closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He knew that whatever choice he made, there would be major consequences. His heart felt heavy, but at the same time, a growing voice inside him urged him to believe in this new journey until the very end. When he opened his eyes again, he knew this was a defining moment. Now, all that was left was to take the hardest step of his life and choose his path. Nathan decided to bet everything on his online store. With unwavering determination, he stopped driving for a few days and dedicated himself fully to expanding his store's reach and visibility. He ran promotions, gathered feedback from his first customers, and fine-tuned his strategy to drive more sales. Slowly but surely, the results started to show, bringing hope and a gradual return to financial security. As sales increased, Nathan finally managed to cover his most urgent expenses, including his overdue rent, lifting a massive weight off his shoulders. Every new order that came in wasn't just another payment. It was proof that he was on the right track. His children were proud to see their father's determination pay off. For the first time in a long time, Nathan felt like he was back in control of his life. Beyond financial gains, Nathan rediscovered his true worth. The difficult journey he had endured taught him that age was never a barrier to new beginnings. He also learned that vulnerability wasn't weakness. It was a courage to acknowledge challenges and seek support. This experience strengthened not only his professional confidence, but also his ability to face future obstacles with wisdom, humility, and renewed resilience. Over time, his online store became stable, providing consistent financial security and allowing him to significantly reduce his driving hours. Life regained meaning and purpose. His relationship with his children grew even stronger, showing them that courage and perseverance mattered more than instant success. Nathan could now see it clearly. His crisis had not been the end. It had been an opportunity he needed to completely reinvent himself. Today, Nathan shares a story with others facing similar challenges, always emphasizing the most valuable lesson he learned. It's never too late to start over. Believe in your abilities. Take risks with courage, and you'll realize that winning is still possible, even when everything seems lost. After all, true success isn't about never falling. It's about always getting back up and believing that a new beginning is within reach.